Gentlemen, Drew.
Hi. Yes.
I did somehow in adjusting I thought I was correcting the time of the meeting in Zoom because it was showing 6:30 to 7:30 or something. But somehow in the process, I created a second version of the meeting and started that one up. So of course, those logins wouldn't work. And I was waiting for someone to comment or something because no one was trying to be admitted. And that was never happened to me before. So I knew there was something wrong. I will make you a co-host in a minute if you would help me with the waiting room. Where are you? More. Okay. You're a co-host. If you want to look after the waiting room once I switch over to running the meeting. Now I'll just say hello to people first. And we now have, how many people? Come on. Oh, less than a dozen. I see that Jacques is here. Anyway, we'll give people a few minutes and then I'll deliver my humble apology because it was something that I did, obviously. So we had about, what, 31 people RSVP. So that was about average. Sahar has just joined us. Actually, Drew is the fellow or person rather that you assisted in the comments to the meeting. Do you see them in the list of participants?
I do not.
Okay. And what about the second person? I think it was it Kim, I think? Yes, I think Kim
I'm Kim, but I'm not sure if you mean me. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I was trying to change my name. It says listening. I'm actually here, but I don't know how to, I can't find it.
You want to change your name?
I just wanted to say.
If you bring up the list of participants,
yeah,
which is the participants button down on the bottom of the window, fourth from the left.
Oh, for me, it's up at the top right.
Okay.
And I've got 7 participants that came up.
Right, but if you click that button, you'll get a list. And then when you see your name in the list, and you click the 3 little, is it the 3 buttons? Oh, wait a sec.
Oh, here it is, because I'm on an iPad.
It says more.
Yeah, it says
and
rename.
That should have
here.
a rename option.
Perfect, thanks.
And you had a good comment insofar as, I think, providing some details. Let me just see if I can bring it up. Now, where did I see that?
Might be someone else, because I only posted like half an hour ago.
No, I saw it at, well, I just remember Kim.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
Now I can't find it.
Down near the bottom of the comments.
Anik, I see Anik's, but then there's nothing after that. Do you have another comment after the Anik one, which was 6 hours ago?
Yes, I posted.
Maybe I'll just refresh my
2
page. I mean, that's
2 comments.
I'm not. My wits don't seem to be about me tonight. Okay, come on, let's go refresh. See more comments. There we are. You were at the top of the page. Come on, where did it go now? There we are. Now you're at the bottom of the page. Immediately preceding Drew's comment that he couldn't log in. So let's have a look at your comment. Trying to explain the issue you're having. A premium WordPress template. Do you mean template or theme?
Oh, I'm sorry, theme.
No, don't worry about it. We'll just clarify things now. You couldn't find a window to put in a YouTube video link, right? What was the name of the theme?
It's called Writing, and it's not one of the ones that's like approved by WordPress. It's a separate one. So the ones that I've bought that are approved from WordPress, I can use those.
And when you say approved, what are you referring to?
When you go into the WordPress themes to purchase a premium theme. There's two ways to do it, but there's one way I've done it, which I did.
Okay, well, let me just assist to
Yep.
expedite matters.
Yep.
There is the WordPress theme repository, all the themes of which are free and have been checked by the WordPress.org people. And then there are all the themes in the world that are you purchase from either directly from a developer or from a marketplace. And so what was the name of the theme again? Can you spell it out?
It was called Writing by, and it was from Envato.
Oh, it's Envato. Okay, so writing was the theme, and you're saying that you're looking for a way to get a video or audio into a post.
Not quite into the post. I know how to do that, but in this theme, the media is supposed to be in the header of an audio post. It would be, you could put SoundCloud, a link to SoundCloud, it would come up. Or if it's YouTube, you get the YouTube video. But I can't find where to put that in the template. Do you know what I mean? When I go to do it.
Can you open your site up and and then share your screen?
Yeah, I'll try. I've never done that before. So I'm just going to try and split this here. So I have it logged in. I don't think there's anything reason why I shouldn't share it. Okay, so sorry, how do I share it?
Okay, in the middle of the row of icons, there should be a green one called share screen.
Oh, share content. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
click
try that.
and then you pick from the,
Oh yeah.
if you've got more than one window open, you pick the one you want out of the group, and then it takes over the screen.
Okay. It's going to start broadcasting.
Chat.
Does it work? Hold on. How come I can't? Sorry.
Okay, sorry,
I've just stopped it because I can't see anything.
What was the
Sorry,
problem?
pardon?
I say, what happened?
It just says screen broadcast Zoom, start broadcast, and then it was just flashing red, but everything's blurry for me other than that.
Let's just try it again. So
okay,
click the share screen you're clicking, right?
Yes.
Okay, stop for a second.
But it's saying everything.
Broadcast zooms.
Says everything will be recorded. Everything on your screen, including notifications, will be recorded.
Right. Well, that's because we're recording the meeting.
Yeah.
Which is normal.
Oh, there, now I can see it. Your screen
share. Now you're up and running. It just took a while to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys see on the right hand side, it says it has my
yes. Can you get rid of the other window there, or why is it?
Okay, yeah. That? Let me do that. Sorry. There.
Anyway, just because we see more that way. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. So what I mean is, for example, if okay, so let's just go visit the site, which isn't really published. But if you see, for example, I'll go down to an audio or video post. So the video is missing on that one. This is just all their content, right? No, I can't.
Well, this is either the home page or an archive page, right? Which has just a sequence of posts one after the other.
Yeah, that's right. So when
so what is it you want to do something to the header?
Oh, there.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So for example, if I you see, this is in the header. That's
right,
in
but
the
you know
header.
something, it would be much easier if you just click on the post in question rather than work from this list, because so now we're seeing just the post, right?
Yeah. How about, you want me to go to edit post?
Well, and so yes, but what you're showing us is an instance where this has worked. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is the example they gave, and this is how it should be with this Grace von der Waal. This is their example. So I'd just like to know how I can change it. So if I go into
so now Drew, you're a whiz at these sorts of theme things. You probably already looked up the theme.
Yeah, actually, I
want
was
to take over and run this part.
Well, I was digging through the site HTML, and this theme doesn't do a lot of the standard stuff that, you know why I'm not seeing the standard stuff is because there is a coming soon plugin activated, which blocks access to all of the theme stuff that I would normally look for. So I will need to go about this another way.
So Kim, is your site ready to be published and you're just preventing it with the coming soon plugin, or it's not, pages are not actually published yet?
I haven't published any of it yet. This is just a new install that I
No, I'm just asked the question just so that we could determine whether or not we can see anything. And I guess the answer is no, because the coming soon plugin is preventing that.
Yeah, well, if I did turn off the coming soon, I could post this post.
I think I found, Kim, I think I found what I'm looking for.
Okay.
The writing theme on Envato by A Works.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that looks promising here is that Theme Forest says it's well documented. So the question of finding some documentation.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Can I ask something? Do you want to change the sound, or I didn't understand what do you want to do?
Oh, I would like to put in a link to another song, any song of my choice.
From SoundCloud.
Yes, but I can't find in the background, I cannot find anywhere to put a window of which song, and same for YouTube and everything else. Even the gallery, I can't find it. The only thing I can change is the static image, because all of these things are in the header, not within the body of the post.
Oh, it's in header.
Yeah,
it cannot be in header. So if it's in header, so it's going to be in every pages.
No, the header of the post only. So you see that the SoundCloud is above the title rather than within the body of the post.
What happens when you're going to edit the post? Is there anything that shows in the top of the post?
Here, I'll show you. I'm going to go to edit.
Yes, if it's part of the header, it won't display when you're editing the post.
I understand that, but I can't find where to put in the post to change it. Do you know what I mean? Like this is that post there.
Right,
so,
but we'd be looking for the template that this particular post uses.
Okay.
And where's that? It's on the sidebar on the right-hand side. And blah, 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 blah. Do we have to edit? Yeah, we're in edit. So, and where is...
Sorry about that.
Oh, under where it says post format.
Yes.
Click that list so we can see what the choices are. Oh, yeah. No, that's just audio gallery.
But why don't I go to do a new post then and choose audio? And do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I haven't used WordPress for a while. So how do I do? Oh, how do I just new? Is that it? Yeah, new post.
right?
So for example, if I go a new post and on the right here, if I put audio, for example, like now I've gone through everything. I cannot figure out where to put.
No, we're just working through.
Yeah, okay,
Don't get
cool.
frustrated yet.
Oh, no, I'm not frustrated. I'm just trying to explain. Yeah.
Right. So when you create a post, it by default is associated with some underlying template.
Yeah.
Single post, for example, is a common template name. And that's what governs then the different areas of the post that you can work with. And it looks like the post format is I guess you call it a custom post template that has several versions of it, depending on which media you select.
Yeah.
So the header's not, so do we all agree that the header's not the issue here, but rather modifying the post template?
Well, why would we want to modify the post template since they're all?
I'm sorry, not modify. Simply select the correct post template and then figure out why it's not properly supporting the video component. So if you were to check the post format for video, because that's the one you're having the problem with, right?
Well, no, it's all of them.
Video as well as audio.
Yeah, it's anything other than a static JPEG. I cannot figure out how to do anything other than a static JPEG.
Okay, but if you were to select the video.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Format.
Yeah.
Now it should be somewhere that you can enter the video details, right? The URL and so on.
Yeah, normally, yes. And I have used another theme where there's a video box and you just put in the code, which you get from YouTube. Or
now, is this, Drew, is this a block theme? I don't think so from the sound of it, and Vado and so on, because aren't we seeing the, the 5.9 Gutenberg, UI for a post here with the post tab and the block tab and so on?
Yeah, no, this is just a blogging theme.
Maybe the problem is that we should be using the classic editor here,
well,
and not the block editor.
Well, let's go back and have a look at that the demo post that has the SoundCloud in it.
Okay.
Okay. So that's actually this one. But here, let's just go back a bit so we can all make sure we're doing the right thing.
And go in, let's edit that and see how they actually put that SoundCloud link in, see where that is.
Okay, yeah, that's what I can't understand.
Okay, now unfortunately, the way the screen is set up, let's see if I can move stuff around here. I move you guys' images around. There we go. So all right. Okay. What if you click on the tab right down the bottom right that says featured image? I can't, unfortunately, oh, that's just an image. Is there anything else in there that would suggest where this that SoundCloud link might be hidden in here? If you scroll the screen down a little bit, please.
That's the very bottom. So if you look through each one, so it's not that, it's not tags, it's not categories, right? So I've tried to go through. Okay. And there's that permalink, but that's not it either.
No. And you see right up at the top where it says post and block.
Yeah.
Let's have a look under the block tab. And nothing there. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, you have to select something like the first paragraph.
All right.
Kim.
Okay.
Right. And so we are in the classic editor for a classic block, right?
No, this is the block editor.
Right, but it's the classic it's a classic block, right? If you click on, right, so in other words, that is edited then with the classic editor rather than the block editor. Because this is not the block editor we're looking at. I guess what I'm sort of flummoxed by, Drew, is that if this were a normal, edit with a block editor, we would have a template list, which would have the 9 core templates, right? And then the ones that are custom templates provided by the theme developer. And we're not getting that. We're getting this thing called post format, which is classic WordPress, right? So are we editing the demo, looking at the demo page or post?
Maybe. Here, let me show you. So this is what there is. Sorry, I am new to this. So as you can see, these are the posts, and then
right. And can you show us? Can you open up in edit mode the demo post with the SoundCloud that works?
Yeah. Okay. So that was the one that was called.
Yeah. So select it and then stop for a second. So which one was
here.
that?
So that's the one.
Which one?
Sorry, the one that was highlighted. It just came in here. I'll go back.
Yeah, go back because
it is right now, right near the top of this screen there.
My Adventure in the Alps?
No, the How I Escape. I can't scroll down.
Now if you just click once, we should see a choice of edit buttons.
Yeah.
Right. So we have edit and quick edit. So let's click edit. Okay, the back of this post different. Blah, 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 blah. Just kind of out of idle curiosity. I'm just curious as to what we'll get. When you see the WordPress logo icon, the white on black, and then there's the plus button, the pencil, and then those 3 little lines.
Yep.
Click the 3 lines, please. Right. So Drew, everything that we're looking at on the, the post content part are classic blocks. So therefore, and actually that's what it says anyway, right above the blocks.
Right, right.
And so this SoundCloud component is whatever, classic WordPress does to support that in a theme. And the post format will be different versions of a custom post type, I suspect, right? Because there's only the one detail that changes across the several different versions, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering if we install the classic editor plugin, if we might see a metadata field at the bottom with that link in it.
You can click the X button beside list view there and close that sidebar. You don't need anymore. So this is the one. Wait a sec. How I escape. So this audio component doesn't even show in the post itself, right?
Yeah, it's only when we go. I don't know if this is helpful on the left here.
Post options, keep going. Okay, stop. Well, yeah, we'll keep going down. We're just scanning to see if there's a media component where we enter the URL.
Okay, well, that's the very bottom.
Right at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay,
So now
stop for a sec. So we've got post options, show title, meta info, share icons, author box, custom description. No, none of those. Keep going. All right. That's kind of amazing, really, that it would have nothing at all.
this is why I've been going crazy for months. I just keep coming back to it every now and again. Like, I must have missed it,
Even if it were the equivalent in the Gutenberg, in the block editor context of a template part for the audio or media component, we'd still have some placeholder indicator. And I guess that's, Drew, what I'm seeing or not seeing is there's no placeholder for that post content, right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for down at the bottom here. And you scrolled right down to the bottom of the page, right?
Yeah,
Now, there
that's
was
the
an
very
advanced.
Yeah.
you just scroll up slightly, just a 2 inches. There was an advanced something or other.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was SEO, right? We don't,
Yeah.
just none of the SEO will be relevant.
Okay.
Wait a second. Up in the right-hand corner, there says switch to draft.
Yeah.
What happens when you click that? Now let's unpublish it. Actually, to switch to editing shouldn't be unpublishing. Right? You'd normally have a published post, you'd make changes to it, and only when you saved and published the post
Uh-huh.
would it replace the one with the same ID. This one is working differently. Anyway, the reason I said go to draft is that we may see more at the top of the post.
Right.
Just top for a moment.
Oops, where did it go? Oh, there it is.
Okay, so it's now in draft and it still doesn't show anything. Yeah.
Is like, I'm not sure how it works. Is there a way I could create a WordPress user and log in for my WordPress here, and somebody could put it on their screen and we could look at it? Because I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like there must be something obvious. This is why I keep coming back to it. So it must be something I'm missing. But nobody's getting back to me. It's been weeks and weeks. Nobody replied to my tickets or my forum posts.
That's never a good sign with a theme.
I know, and I was also within the 6-month warranty, right? I think I still am. I think I bought it in January, so I was a bit frustrated. So I thought, you know what, rather than just swallow the loss, like maybe I'll just try. I'll just try you guys. Like, if
Hang
anyone can
on.
help-
Somebody just suggested, Tyler, to click the pencil icon, the third icon from the left on the left-hand side. Well, it's in edit then. It's already in edit mode. I mean, that's what we thought. Do you want to have her create a user account for you, Drew?
I don't think I'm going to see anything if I log in that I'm not already seeing.
Okay.
It would seem to me that, notwithstanding the fact that you paid for this theme,
Yeah.
that it may be less work to simply change the theme to one that behaves more normally. And when we look at this post page, we have something that shows up, you know, as the media container, which in all the other themes that we work with, we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I guess I could. I'm not sure I quite understand about the container. Like, the reason I liked this theme was because the media was in the header above the title of the blog post. Now, I don't know if I can just do that in any other.
Well, just to tell you from the brief part that I've seen of your site,
Yeah.
and the way that this particular post is organized,
Yeah.
none of it is out of the completely ordinary using the block editor. And in the
Okay.
block editor, you get a list of blocks and you just type in media or YouTube or audio or whatever, and up will come the choices you have. Click once and then fill in the block. The Gutenberg scheme is new and being developed as we speak, but
Right.
for sites which are entirely sort of content, meaning, you know, content as you got here, you've got text, you've got media and so on, but it's not interactive, you're not selling anything, you're not organizing events, running workshops, running
That's
a
right.
learning
I won't
site.
be doing any of that.
No, but so what you are is in the 2/3 of websites out there that are essentially, you know, it's text content with media supporting it. Well, the Gutenberg scheme is quite able to handle that these days.
Okay.
Do you know anything? Have you heard of this block editor? Is this new to you?
Yeah, I don't think I've used the block editor. It's been many years since I used WordPress, so
Well,
maybe
you
it's
wouldn't have heard
easier
of it
now.
except in the last, you know, few months.
Yeah, okay.
Been being developed for years, but several years, but it's only in the last few months that it's reached the point where you can edit the site as a whole. But in any event, I don't want to promote that as something that anybody and everybody should do, but simply
Yeah.
it may be something worth considering. First, because, well, for a variety of reasons, but given the problems you've had with this theme, the work you're going to have to go to find another one that lets you do what you want, which in themes, classical themes may have some issues in moving things around, but in the block world, that's a trivial requirement. I mean, moving, the block with the media in it, above the title, below the title, inside the title, alongside the title, those are just drag and drop operations. But as I say,
okay. Well, things have come a long way. That's good to hear. You know what? I'm gonna have to do that. This was kind of my last ditch attempt not to like.
okay,
throw
well,
that
let's
away.
get some other people's opinions in here
Thank you.
so that you're not left with just my
Okay.
opinionated views. Drew, what do you suggest?
Well, I think that there are some really good free themes that you could use as an alternative. We see this over and over again in this forum of somebody who's bought a theme on Theme Forest, which is absolutely incomprehensible, which may or may not have available documentation, may or may not have available support. And you just, it's not only new to the person who bought it, but it's actually new to all of us.
Right.
They've just completely redefined everything that WordPress does. So, if you were to use a theme like Astra or GeneratePress, both very good themes, both free, or both have free versions anyway,
Okay.
that are very well documented, well supported, and well understood in the community. And they're also very flexible. So you can make them do all kinds of different things.
Okay.
Can I
And
just interject just something occurred to me, Kim, while you guys were speaking. If you were to go, let this window or rather drop down with edit in it close, just click anywhere okay. And now click where it says, how I escape, which is the title, right? And now go to the plus button on the left top corner and type in, let's try media. Okay, and so then click, let me see, let's try audio actually. Right below it, you'll see the audio and you can click on that and that'll create a block.
yeah, it's done that. Oops. I don't know what I did there, but yeah, oops. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Just go back to it. Just how I escape or whatever it was.
Oh, there it was.
Anyway, I'm just testing to see if we could, I mean, it is in the block editor's running. Why can't we stick a block in above the title and see if we can, make that work?
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to click and search what you're looking for, say audio.
Okay.
And now
double
click that audio block that's just below that. You'll see the word audio okay. And now it should have inserted. Now go to where the audio block is and you'll see a toolbar above the word audio with the little up arrow.
Yeah.
Click that several times and that'll move it to the top of the page.
Okay, it stopped going up there.
Okay, and now if you click, do you have the audio file that you're looking for in the media library?
Sorry, no, I was just trying to put in random things from SoundCloud just to get it working.
Okay, so you have three choices here.
Yeah.
If you have the audio file locally on your computer, you could click the upload button. Or you could load it to the media library and select it, clicking the second link. Or if you have a URL, because it's a YouTube, for instance, audio, well, that's not audio, but a YouTube source where you're not downloading the file, then you use the third button. And then that should proceed automatically to set up that block and you're done.
Yes. And I guess
but you
there's
got to have
no
a
way.
file we can test.
Yeah, but even so, I guess there's no way to ever get it above the title.
Well, no, I mean, we can play, there's ways to play around with the thing.
Is there?
I mean, in theory, this how I escape title block should be a classic block. And if
Yeah.
so, there's no reason why it can't be moved below the audio one. There's nothing
Yeah.
that forces the title to be the top of the page.
Yeah, okay, I don't know why when I click on it, there is no block. Should I just delete it? Bye-bye.
And then if you do that, then, okay, now you're, well, you know what?
Yeah.
The title to the post isn't necessarily the title as it appears on the page. So if you just click the undo button, which is that left pointing arrow just immediately up and to your left, yeah.
Oh, it only let me do one undo.
Okay, so leave that, and
It's
then
okay.
click the audio block.
Yeah.
And the plus sign should appear underneath it. Anyway, you selected it. So go back to the plus sign inserter and then click, go title. Or post, maybe it's post title. Yeah, try post title. There it is. It's the first row, third one on the right.
I double clicked it. Oh, there it is. It came up. It's that thing here. I'm just wondering if I can move it. Oh, there's the arrow.
All right,
That's-
now,
Oh.
the how I escape is what WordPress thinks the post title is, but the actual text that will display is Kim Studios.
Hmm.
If I've gotten this thing right. Anyway, we've accomplished, I think, what we can until you
Yes.
have a media file that we can try out.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Break with us now and see if you can find an audio file to put in the media library.
Yeah.
And then let us know and we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Anything yet to add, Drew or Tyler or anybody else before Kim goes and finds a test file?
I
Okay.
personally like Classic Editor plugin because I find it works a lot easier than the block editor, but that's just because you can have more HTML control and stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. This, you know, Envato is always bad about this stuff, trying to find it. I think that might be it. Like that Kim Smith Studios, it's probably a URL embedded in that, but the fact that it's obfuscated is just bad design.
Right. So you can dismiss your editor keyboard with using the bottom right corner icon of the keyboard. There we go. And so, right. So find us a test file, come back and then put in the chat window that you're ready to test it, and we'll return to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
How do I get my thing off? Or I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah, you go to,
Oh, there, stop. There, I see it.
you got it.
Maybe it's just taking some time.
Okay, and was it Tyler?
I can do it for you.
I just got it. It took a minute.
Okay.
Right.
Tyler, you were making some comment about HTML in the classic editor? Tyler?
Yeah, just in the classic editor, you have a lot more control.
Yeah, but I mean, HTML is just displaying a window with the HTML in it, right? I mean, what's that got to do with control?
Well, I just mean I can see what a link is, where it's going, and what it's pulling in from, as opposed to adding those.
Like, you know, editing 101 for the block editor too. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
Some people have commented accurately that there are fewer styling controls in blocks than they would like. And that's a comment which has some validity, but it must be understood in the context of each week as we go along, additional styling capabilities are added either to block types, individual blocks, or patterns, or templates, or template parts for that matter. And the extent of the styling capabilities now is, what I would say answered 95% of the styling requirements of websites across the board. And in another few weeks, that will come up to pretty close to 100%. So in other words, the problem with evaluating Gutenberg in the block editor is that it's a moving target, and therefore you have to have some sense of how it's progressing. But I just didn't want anybody to have the impression that somehow HTML was different in the block editor than in the classic editor. The HTML aspect would be, for all practical purposes, identical. I don't think the classic editor has syntax highlighting, and that's the only thing that I miss in the block editor.
I just mean if I'm pulling in a link from another site, I want to see that link and where it is.
Right, but all you're saying is I want to see the URL itself separately from the label, the text label that is applied to it, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, that's basically, as I say, editing 101. Every editor does that. It might do it in a slightly different fashion, one to the other. I find OneNote, for example, has a quite awkward URL creation and editing and removal kind of technique, at least on an iPhone. The desktop version is much easier to use, but that's more a question of the version you're running it on. Okay. Let's go to another one. How about, do we have Anik here to talk about or see how she's doing with her performance issue? Anik, are you here? No. How about, I'm mispronouncing this, Roelf, let me know, but Roelf, are you there? Yes.
I don't have anything to talk about, so I'm fine.
So ignore your chat message.
Oh, the only thing that I'm trying to figure out is how to make it a local development environment choice.
Oh, well, we've talked about that a few times. What's your thinking so far in terms of, I mean, are you looking at one and then saying, how does this compare to others? Or
I've been reading a variety of blog posts and, I'm probably going to go with local.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of context for local from my experience. I've been using local for, I guess, 3 or 4 years. Not a lot in the beginning days, a lot more lately. In the WordPress social learning meetups that I've been running, about 25 or 30 of them so far, the use of local development has come up, and they have decided to recommend local. All the people on the WordPress team side use it, and they even provide pre-configured zip archives that sort of load an entire site in one step on the local app, and that's very convenient from a user's point of view. The local app is easier to use than the MAMP or WAMP versions that are out there. And what's the one, server something or other, as a competitor of locals. But for feature parity, you have to pay. Maybe it's called desktop server. I'm not sure.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like local and this desktop server as sort of the main contenders. And then there are the open source versions that run on either Windows or the Mac that use the Apache MySQL.
Yeah, I've developed an XAMPP in the past, but
right.
Not WordPress sites.
Right. So anyway, that's the context and from my point of view on local. If anybody else has anything to suggest or recommend, speak up.
I'm a heavy Divi user, and I don't particularly want to go away from it. I'm starting to actually build websites for members of my family who are engaged in commercial environments, and I'm just so frustrated with the lag time between the local server, the local ISP, and SiteGround. It just drives me crazy. So I need to get away from that. cloud-based environment.
Well, I guess the one issue with local is that it doesn't, the free version doesn't include staging, or at least promotion of changes from the local site to the, your remote server. If you had a what's it called, Firefly or WP Engine hosting account, then they will stage automatically from the local site, which is their product, to your hosted site. Otherwise, you can choose from a variety of plugins that do that, and the one that I've been using is WP Staging, and seems to work fine with local. But that's one way to do it is simply you can export the site, the site from the local app, just export it to a zip file, and then make that the way you create the new site. And WordPress's built-in export function and import function can handle that.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Like
I'm used to moving things around by FTP and other kinds of tools, so I'm not too concerned about that.
Yeah, so that you've got that, well taken care of. The staging plugins give you the granularity to select less than all the tables in the database, most, but not necessarily all of the posts or pages or whatever. So that's the advantage of it, if that's appropriate in your context.
So let me ask another question, because one of the things that's been sort of, figuring out what to do, and I've gone through a number of plugins, and a number of times I've had to deal with plugin compatibility problems. Is there a good, or what's the best reference site for that kind of issue? Or is there a good solid book which really explains the WordPress environment on some level of detail, so that I get beyond this learning by trial and error to something that's more conceptual based?
But and specific to plugins and compatibility?
No, it's specific to the whole architecture and design of the WordPress environment.
Well, that's a fairly tall. So you want a technically oriented or developers level
I've written
view of WordPress. Actually, the Codex, the WordPress Codex from the classic WordPress point of view, or the new handbook, are pretty good, technical materials documentation. Are you familiar with the Codex?
No, I'm not. If someone could point me to those sources, I'll go chase them down.
Well, just Google WordPress Codex, and it's a subsite within WordPress.org.
Okay,
and,
that's a good enough pointer.
And the other is just editor handbook, I guess. WordPress editor handbook will take you to it. There's one for the editor handbook, and then there's the theme handbook. But you'll see there's a whole reference section, and it's the new documentation. Like there's the old WordPress, aka classic WordPress, which the Codex deals with, and there's the new WordPress, Gutenberg, which the new documentation deals with. And it literally changes week by week, the new documentation.
Yeah, I'm not a Gutenberg fan at this point.
Right. But if you're investing time in WordPress, it is something that it is what is WordPress is becoming.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't have any difficulty with that.
In the next year, but certainly somewhere down the line.
I'll wait.
You're obviously have enough experience to sort of know the trade-off when you move with a changing technology. So
yeah, I don't like developing in a constantly changing world. I've got enough problems with the functionality I'm trying to build.
Okay,
but
so
anyway,
the Codex then is probably your best bet. And then what's his name? Is it Morton Rand Hendrickson? MRH. I'm just trying to think. There's a fellow who happens to live in Vancouver and is a developer, and has published a whole bunch of very useful LinkedIn videos. There used to be Lynda, the site used to be called Lynda, now LinkedIn, and even just his free ones, which you can get through the Toronto Library online or digital, archives. He's both a good teacher and technically quite sound. So don't be afraid to use the YouTube resources.
What's his name again?
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's Rand
Morton Rand
Morten, and then his last name is hyphenated, Rand dash, and I think it's something like Hendricks or must be like Hendrickson.
Okay,
but there's nobody called Morton Rand something out there.
Okay, I'll chase that down. That's very helpful. Yeah, I'm I used to be a CIO of fairly large shops. I'm fairly technically oriented.
Excellent. Well, welcome to WordPress, and it's.
I have no particular desire to leave the WordPress environment. It seems to me to be, once you get through the learning curve, to be a particularly rich and useful environment. So.
Well, interesting that with your background, because it was in our session in April, we had a fellow there who was a software developer with a quite interesting background, quite relevant to these sorts of questions. And he was new to WordPress and intensely frustrated by it. He works in software design, design systems. And yet he did choose WordPress. And was just promoting the fact that it wasn't as straightforward as he found many of the technical manuals that he used, which of course start in the thousands of dollars and go up, to a variety of nosebleed heights.
Yeah, what I think, I'm, as well as being a developer, I'm a social psychologist by training. WordPress is a community environment, and like all community environments, it's often difficult to wade your way through and find the people that are not only compatible or not only know their stuff, but also compatible with your way of doing things. And it's just been, going through and trying to find some reasonable sources and blogs and this endless plugin environment, and then running into plugin. It's just a messy community world to live in, but that doesn't mean it is technically not a sound world. And
I think as you become more comfortable, because you've learned some of the sort of main features of the landscape, and then when you have a question, which sources are the credible ones, if not the authoritative ones. And I think that sort of you're on a slope that sort of gets quicker as you go, but it's tough in the early days, I think, when things are so unfamiliar and don't have the things you're used to using for navigation.
Yeah, my last comment, like I finally developed a whole process for plugin compatibility checking, right? When I went into my first plugin compatibility problem, I naively assumed that the support people in the team would sort of have some understanding of that. And I quickly realized that I knew more not knowing anything than they knew supposedly knowing a lot. And so I developed a disciplined process for doing WordPress plugin compatibility checking. And now when I run into problems, I don't even ask anymore. I just go through my process. So it's coming.
Yeah, and I think, when I had problems with plugins, I found a plugin which would enable you to group plugins and sort of activate and deactivate them as groups. And that made debugging or finding the errant plugin relatively fast.
And the name of that plugin is?
Not at the tip of my tongue. But you know what? I'll give you I'll type in the chat window my email address. If you want to just send me an email.
Yeah, please.
I'll check the name of Morton, and then and remind me of the other point, the one we were just talking about, and and I'll pull the plugin name for grouping plugins, and I'll dig them up and send them back.
I very much appreciate that. Why don't you move on to the next person? It's been very helpful, and look forward to having more chats in the future.
Okay, there's my email.
Yep, I'll find it.
Robin, I see that Anik has joined us. She posted a question on the site.
Right. Do you want to go through that, Drew? Since you are the one with the excellent list.
Just find the original comment.
Second and third last on the comments list, but you have to ask for the more comments.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. So Anik, do you want to unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Do you want to turn your camera on so we can all see you?
Oh, I'm so tired. You don't want to see me tired.
Oh, okay.
I have to give the app access to my camera and then it may kick me off and then I may have to join again.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do it. And if you don't hear me, it's because it kicked me off.
Oh, Anik, are you still there? Huh.
She
Okay.
dropped out and then she's back in now.
Yeah. Okay, Anik, are you back? Oh, all right. So we have two of you. And Anik, you are still muted.
I only,
Oh,
There we go.
okay. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Okay, now we can hear you and see you.
there she is.
Okay.
Hi, Annie.
Hi. I'm logging into my website. I know I'm a little late. I have too many things to do. So I'm logging into the WordPress. I'm wondering what would be I deleted all of the unnecessary plugins and I did my best to make it fast myself by going on I think Google has a website that talks about how you can speed up. And there's some things I don't even understand, but I used some things and I kind of played around, but just wondering if you all have any input.
Well, yeah, I had some suggestions for you. It looks like you went to the Google Pagespeed Insights to have a look to see how your site was doing. I had a look at it. On the desktop side, it's actually not too bad. On the mobile side, it's not great. So there's certainly room for improvement. So I think the next place to have a look would be to go into your WordPress dashboard and have a look
so
at.
I'm there now.
Okay, and have a look at your site health report and make sure that WordPress itself is happy.
It says good.
Okay, that's good. All right.
And there are no critical issues or
No, it
nothing
just says
flagged?
good.
All right.
No, well, okay, it says take a look at 2 items.
Why don't you display your site? Share your screen using the
Oh.
green button in the middle of the
I'm
row
not-
of icons. You know, the
I'm
icons
on-
for the Zoom
I'm
app.
I'm on my cell phone and I'm on my website on my desktop. I don't have a camera on my desktop.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't share. You can't
Or
share
my-
a computer screen.
Yeah, no, I can show you what I'm doing with my phone if you want me to. I could do that.
Well, we haven't, I mean, I don't know. Can you work with that, Drew? I mean, I've not edited a website on my phone.
Well, maybe you can just tell me what it says
There,
in the.
but it's kind of dark. You won't be able to see it. It's a little dark.
Yeah.
But I'm on the site health screen, and it says have a default theme available. That's what it says. 1 recommended improvement.
Okay. Yeah, that won't affect your speed.
Okay, that's the only thing it says that I could do.
Yeah, what I was looking for there was if something like your PHP version was old or anything like that.
Okay.
But that looks like it's all right.
Maybe
Uh,
we'll be able to see now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, since you're an art site and you
Yes.
have a lot of images,
It's going to slow it down. That's what I
yeah.
figured.
Mhm. So I would recommend compressing your images.
Write this
And
down.
there's a, if you have a look at the Meetup site for tonight, look at, underneath your own comments. There's a response that I posted with a checklist
Okay.
of items. So there's a very good image compression plugin called WP Smush.
WP dash smush.
Yeah.
Would it be that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a plugin, right?
It's a plugin, and there's a free version of it.
Okay.
And it will just go through and compress all your plugins.
Okay. Let me see if I can download that now. While I'm on,
It'll take a while to run.
I can imagine because I have a lot of paintings on here. WP smush.
Drew, I was looking at something in the chat window. Have you checked the
It doesn't show.
plugins to see if there's anything that could be putting a load on the system?
I don't see anything called WP.smush. I see smush dash
Yeah,
lazy load
Smush
images.
itself.
I see this one, and then I see hummingbird, and then I
Yeah.
see this one, then I see that one.
Yeah, it's
Then
Smush,
I don't
and
see.
it's written by the author is WPMU Dev.
Oh, this one, is it Hustle?
No, that's something.
Oh, because
else.
that's WP that, right? WMU.
Yeah, but it's not. Hustle is something entirely different.
Well,
Is it
is it
this
not the
one?
first
'Cause
one?
this one is-
Smush, you know,
Is
if you
it-
just
is
type
it-
in Smush.
I typed
yeah, that's
smush
it.
in.
The
I
WPMU.
typed that in.
No, not just
Don't
Smush.
put WP.
Forget the WP.
Okay. Okay.
And the first hit that comes up is the one that where
This one.
Drew is. Yeah, that's it.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Install it.
I'm amazed at WordPress with the poor quality of its search engine. You could type in the exact name of a plugin, and if you're lucky, it'll be like the third hit. And the ones that precede it, you can't figure out why the search engines select these.
That's why Google is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and all the other search engines went bust.
Okay. So I downloaded it. So okay. I have to set it up, I guess. Is that the only way that you can suggest? Because I know most people will be looking at the mobile
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, there's another, the next suggestion after you do that would be to install a cache.
Strange pen. Foolish pen just stopped working. Okay.
Drew, where is this site hosted? Because the large guys all have their own caching, right?
Yeah,
Like
was
SiteGround,
this
WP
Anif,
Engine.
was this on Bluehost?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I cleared my cache yesterday on
No, this is a
Bluehost.
different kind of. There are many caches, many types of cache. Right.
I did computer science 15 years ago. So I'm out of
many
date.
of the large hosts provide a plugin for caching, which is designed to work specifically with their server architecture. And other than that, there are maybe three main what do they refer to them as? Not development, distribution networks, CDNs, like Cloudflare, which also provide caching. So there are plugins as well as services. Rocket is one of the favorites that people use, right? Guys, anybody with?
Yeah, that's a good one. They don't have a free version, so you have to pay for it.
Okay,
If
I'm
you're
not paying.
looking for a good one that's free, there's
Yeah.
WP Super Cache. It's developed by Automatic.
So that's another plugin?
That's another plugin, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do this smush when I'm done. Because okay. It's taking a while.
Yep, it will take a while. It's got a lot of work to do going through all of your images.
So can I can download the other plugin in the meantime, right? Because I see it's starting, so 0 bytes. So I guess I could do the other plugin in the meantime. I don't know. I don't know
Drew,
exactly
what was the name
it's
of
doing.
the automatic caching plugin?
WP Super Cache.
WP Super Cache.
Okay, but this is what it's doing. It's doing nothing. 0.
Well, it looks like it's doing nothing. You might have to, come back tomorrow to wait for it. Now, you can always, you don't have to stay on that screen.
Okay. It says I have multiple WordPress image optimization plugins installed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, so let me manage them. Then okay, so I have Jetpack, which is not one of those. I have Hustle.
Okay.
Jetpack may have caching turned on as an option, which is something to check, right?
Because none of them, as far as I deleted a lot of them. I have WooCommerce, Updraft Plus, which is back to backup, Smush, Jetpack, Hustle, and Elementor. That's all I have.
Okay.
And what does Hustle do?
Hustle says start collecting email addresses and quickly grow your mailing list with big, bold pop-up slide-ins, widgets, or in post opt-in forms. I don't know if I need that.
Yeah, one of the things that I would look for are plugins which do they run regardless of what's going on in the site, or do they come on only when something specific to them comes up? And so that Hustle one, I want to know that it doesn't put any load on the system when it's not doing some job that you know of.
Hustle is essentially marketing automation, so it's pop-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah, but does it load with every post and page? Even if you're not even if you haven't started using it in a real way. I'm only asking as something to be checked. I don't think the answer is relevant.
How do I find that out? I'm on the page now, but how do I check to see?
Well, one thing you could do is deactivate all but your absolutely essential plugins that you're currently using, and then go and check the speed of the site again, and see if it's different, and then compare, before and after deactivating plugins. That's one way to measure it. One of the things that GT Metrics does, and I'm sure that the Google Analytics does as well, are you using Elementor to any extent?
Yes.
Okay, because one of the things it does is build really big, it's called DOMs, a large DOM, document object model, which it builds out of a series of nodes. In any event, we had an Elementor page a couple of months ago that reported on the Google Analytics that had 2,300 nodes for that one page. And what that actually sort of means is there's 2,300 div elements containing code.
So
that's one of the knocks on page builders. And it may sometimes be warranted, it may sometimes not be warranted, is that they are somewhat of a performance drag depending on how you use them. If you built a complex landing page, for instance, with 12 different sections on it, for instance, like a site on a page in effect, then that will build a huge amount of infrastructure behind the page, which if you were to test it, you'd find, gee, that's a big load. That's really hitting the server. Compared to a simple post that's 2 paragraphs long and has nothing added to the post other than, just text content and some images.
Anika, I have also another thought for you. After Smush finishes compressing all your images, you'll want to go into the Jetpack configuration, and inside
Okay, let me do
Jetpack,
that now.
inside,
Let me do that now.
right.
Because I haven't downloaded Supercache yet, and thank you
Okay.
for the commentary. I don't know what the other guy's name was, but settings for Jetpack.
Yep. Okay, now inside Jetpack, there are a whole lot of individual modules that you can turn on and off. And
Only one is on. I don't have downtime monitoring on, and I don't have WordPress.com login on.
you don't have WordPress. Okay, so
.com.
so what is on?
Brute force protection.
Okay.
Enabling brute force protection will
Okay.
prevent bots and hackers.
Okay, now after WP Smush finishes,
Mhm.
you want to turn on something called Photon.
Where can I find that?
It should be in the list of options under
Performance?
it'll be under performance.
Okay, because I'm in performance now, and I see performance and speed, enable site accelerator, speed up image load time, speed
That's
up
it.
static. That
Okay,
one, just
yeah.
enable site accelerator, but after Smush then.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
image load times. Okay, they've changed the
Okay.
wording on it. It used to be called Photon.
Okay.
Basically, what that does is it's a bit like what Robin explained a little bit earlier about the CDNs, or the content distribution networks. What it does is it takes a copy of all of your images, but only the images, and loads the copy onto Automatic's servers. And so when somebody comes to your website, it will bring in the text from your website, but it'll bring in the images from Automatic servers, which are very fast. So that'll speed up the loading of the images. And that will be also combined with the Smush compression. So that's why I said wait till after Smush has compressed the images, because you'll want it to copy the compressed versions of the images.
Okay. And so after all of that, do the WP Supercache?
Sure. Yeah.
Any other suggestions?
Well, this is what you can do for free. The next thing would be to, and after you've got all this done, rerun your speed check and see if there's a significant improvement. This might be enough. If it's not enough, your next thing would be to find faster hosting. If you are on inexpensive hosting, the hosting company is putting a whole lot of customers onto one server. They're all sharing resources and they're all competing for those resources, and that slows the sites down. So the dedicated WordPress hosting tends to be more expensive. It has fewer customers per server, and for that reason, it has better response times and better speed. But that means investing some more money.
Okay.
There are also a few hosts that where you can sort of have your cake and eat it too, have lower cost hosting, but have a fairly decent speed. One of them I recall was called A2 hosting. And what you're looking for there is a web server called Lightspeed. Most web hosts are using a web server called Apache. It's pretty much the standard in the web hosting industry. Lightspeed is a commercial clone of Apache, but it is much faster. And it also includes a Lightspeed cache plugin for WordPress for WordPress, which is far and away faster than anything else on the market. So that is really good. And if you
Drew, just a quick question: is that from your experience or your experience in having read stuff, or
I've tried it myself. I have heard this from two sources.
Well, and you suffice to say they're credible or sources to you.
Yeah, one of them is.
No, you don't need to name them. I mean, I trust you. If you say they're credible, then they're credible, right?
Yeah, it's
good. No, that's great for helping people make choices. Shall we switch?
There's
okay.
one more thing actually. If that isn't enough, if you test your site again and even that, there's one more thing you can do, and that is to replace your theme with a faster theme.
I've done that several times. It's just such a pain in the neck.
It is. It is.
I've done it 400 times. 400, literally.
And it depends on what level of speed you're getting after you make all the other changes, and that's why I left that one for last, because it's the it's the hardest one to do. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't find much picture ones, but thank you for your help.
Great. Okay. I wanted to get to, I think it was, is it Heather? Are you there, Heather? Let me just check.
Okay, have a nice evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Annie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. Heather, are you there? Okay, we'll go back to Kim just for a few minutes and just clean up what we were talking about with her, and then we'll move on. And if Michael, you want to ask something, we'll come back to you. So just hold yourself ready for a minute.
Sorry,
Kim, are you there? There's Kim. I saw your comment. You put an audio file in, and now there's two audio files, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I resolved it further down. Sorry. I know how to do it now. I did it with the classic editor. It's totally perfect, but I saw that classic editor is winding up. Does that mean I won't be able to?
Well, first of all, the reason I wanted to get you back in part was because you have no short-term fear. You need not have any short-term fear. The classic editor will be at least around for a couple of years, if not much longer. As long as there are people who don't want to make the transition, they'll continue to support the classic approach in one way or another. So you're fine to go that way. But if you could display your page, I'm curious as to see what block or component or element you used. And then we'll go to Michael.
Sorry, I can't remember how to share.
Okay, you go to the share screen button. I think it's green in the middle of your row of icons.
It's doing it.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Give it a
Yeah,
second
so-
and then close the left-hand side one and.
So when I first did it, it was hilarious because the original one was still there, but I figured it out when I could see it with the classic editor. So I've replaced it. So it's perfect. Like I know I'll be able to do everything now.
So did you delete the
Oh, I'll show you
block
what
that
I,
we added?
yeah, what did I do? Oh, I just came in, you see, so this is now, as soon as I came in, that was there. When I put in the classic editor plugin, and then I came in and look, it was right there. So I just swapped it for a different URL and it did it immediately.
Yeah, I had a feeling this might have been hidden in the classic editor and not shown in the block editor.
Well,
But it was showing the classic editor for the classic blocks, but that's not the same thing as the classic editor from the plugin. In theory, they're the same, but in practice, they're probably not.
Well, I guess the classic block doesn't show metadata, or doesn't show all the metadata.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't work with it, so I'd be guessing. Okay, so you're happy though, Kim? You solved the
yeah.
problem?
I'm just trying to figure out how to get my thing off of here again for you, but what am I doing? What am I doing?
Well, it's the stop sharing button that you want. And now
There
you got
it is. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I think it should stop now. Did it stop?
Yes,
Am I
yes,
still-
yes. And Kim, if
Yeah.
you wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
add a comment to our Meetup page.
Yeah.
And just say, I went through this and that, the next thing, and somehow we got it all worked out, or at least you
Yeah.
got it all worked out. And
With your help, I
you're-
never could have done it. I've been trying and trying and trying. So I'm
Well,
really,
just think of the people out there who might be in the same situation you are,
yeah,
and how much encouragement they would get from coming on to a session like this, and then somehow at the end of it, it works.
Yep, that's
Even
right.
though we're
No,
not
it's
exactly
fantastic.
positive how.
Yeah, I'm really grateful. I really appreciate everybody.
Well, anything you could say in that regard would help us out.
Yeah, I
um,
will do.
with new people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Michael and then to Heather. Jack, did you want to say something?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Fire
Oh,
away.
great. Thank you very much. This is my first time here, and I'm actually here just to introduce myself, say hello, and prepare myself for like next meeting. What
Like a
I'm
dry run.
pretty much, yeah. I've been kind of avoiding this for about a year. I used to have a beautiful WordPress website, and it got hacked to pieces. So I pivoted and went into other realms for a while, and I'm ready to go back and face building a new series of sites, and I'm gonna go the multi-site way. And I'm just curious if you guys have experience with multi-site environments. That's kind of my main question.
That's a good question to ask, which is to say, what experience have people had that might be useful to you before you commit to making use of that? And has anybody in our group tonight had some good experience with multi-site?
Yes, I've used multi-site. Multi-site is good for some things and not good for other things. So it depends entirely on what your application is.
Right. Well, I'm actually creating several different business fronts. One is music publishing. Most of them are just sort of boutique information sites. There's not going to be a lot of forum or community. It's basic sites, but they need to be separated because one is for design, one is for music, one is for publishing, one is for decluttering homes. They're small business sites. I've been doing a lot of side hustling during the pandemic. My background is as a content producer. So it really kind of hit hard when I was hacked 8 times. The last time I was hacked was, and the final time was on my birthday when I was in a musician residency. So I've had this mental block starting over again after having worked in website design for 15 years prior. So I've opted for the multi-site where it's going to be sub-sites, you know, in a multi-site environment. But even like, my first question is, how do I hide the optics of a multi-site from the end user, like by using different domains and things like that? I found when I started working on this that the domains work, but as soon as I clicked into an interior page, it revealed the infrastructure of the multi-site, you know, the directory structure. And that to me was quite alarming. I did get my provider to hide one of them so I could protect myself as I start working on this. So, but what I wanted to know from you guys is, you know, what should I have prepared for the next meeting? You know, like I should have my installations that they're done and work in progress, they're done. But then I guess I have to have my questions in order too. And I want to make sure that, you know, it's not an overwhelming question or it's too much or something like that. Because right now it feels like a lot for me.
Well,
I'm stepping into a new terrain, you know, it's kind of, I've gone from being hacked in a simple WordPress website to going into an elevated strategy, you know? So I'm glad there's a network available.
Yeah, just on the question, Michael, of the domain, I just Googled WordPress multi-site domain mapping, and it goes through the different options that are there. But even without reading that material, there are a variety of techniques to have the page that's rendered have a particular domain in it, which may not be the underlying domain for the site, for the multi-site. And there's more than one technique. So that's worth looking into. But the other thing is just to find a few good review articles. Say, for example, go to a site like WP Beginner and read their multi-site article. They'll have something that's called the Guide to Multi-Site. And then try a site like Kinsta, Kinsta, and find their guide to multi-site.
You just froze. Can you say that again?
Kinsta, Kinsta.com. Go to their blog and look for the same thing, a multi-site guide, but it will be at a significantly higher level and probably somewhat longer. And so from two things like that, one to get you sort of oriented, another one to dig in and get some meat on. I think one of the real issues is how much of a common element will you want for all the sites within the multi-site network? And one of the things that is in your favor is that if you have a largely content-heavy site, then you're in the best of the worlds of choices, in that WordPress has the fewest problems doing that because it's the least complex demand to make on the system. So you're in a good spot there, but you still have to do your homework on your requirements to see if they match up with multi-site capabilities.
Right. Thank you. I'm also curious if Jetpack is more robust now to actually help out with brute force attacks. I mean, I see there's the button where you turn it, you know, the slider where you turn it on and off. I was a recipient of a lot of brute force attacks too, and I don't know if that's a really common thing with WordPress or what. But there were incidences where like my site would get shut down because of being hit by these brute force attacks.
First of all, just before we get into the brute force attacks, multi-site adds an awful lot of complexity, which often isn't necessary and may not give you any value over having multiple individual sites. Is there a reason why you wouldn't want to do multiple individual installs of WordPress?
Well, It would mean I would have to purchase web hosting individually for, say, 5 or 6 sites, 7 sites. Whereas if I use a multi-site, I'm paying for one web hosting. So it's a budget thing, really, as an arts worker.
Well, not necessarily. On my host, for example, on my hosting plan, I can have unlimited websites and unlimited domains on one account. So I can set up
really?
as many as I want.
I set up a site where it was the main site was abijustice.org, and then I installed WordPress as a subfolder for a different site, but it had the root was abijustice.org/legal professionals. And so it was a whole different site, a whole different WordPress install, but it was a subfolder on the cPanel. So there was 3 separate WordPress installs. The main one, which was kind of like acting like a landing page, and then 2 separate WordPress installs as subfolders for different sites. And then, you know, you're basically just paying for one. But like Drew said, you can have multiple. Just sometimes they do. If you have multiple installs on the main root, then they might start to try to charge you extra, but it just depends on your hosting. The only thing I was wanting to say about this was that we moved from Bluehost to a dedicated server, WP Engine, and that's type of format for WordPress installs. WP Engine wouldn't. They don't manage that type of. They don't have that same system for some reason. I couldn't install that type of. So they kind of are trying to force a multi-site where you have to change the URL, like the path. You'll see everything in the path. So
well, WP Engine is a managed services provider.
Yeah.
So they take a rather more aggressive approach in
Yes.
the way, in the things that they'll support, which is to say they'll support less.
Yes.
The inexpensive hosts normally offer 2 ways to add sites. One is the subfolder route, which Heather's described, and then the other is the subdomain approach, which is a prefix to the domain name. But most inexpensive hosting accounts support both. And the only issue you might have is that you're adding more contention for services, for resources on a limited capacity server, but you know, that may not in practice turn out to mean anything at all or be a problem at all. So it is either subdomain or subfolder are the standard choices to add sites to an existing account's first site. So, you know, check your host to see what the options are there. But if you don't find that available, then there are innumerable hosts that do provide that. And that's the capability listing you look for on a chart of features.
Yes.
Is,
yes.
you know, subdomain and subfolder sites.
Okay.
I think we've got time to switch.
Actually,
do you want to say something?
Robin, yeah, just before we leave this issue, Michael also had a question about brute force attacks.
Oh, okay.
I have not tried the Jetpack brute force protection. That might be sufficient for you.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have tried successfully is the Sucuri paid firewall. It has worked quite well. The downside is that it is about $200 a year per domain.
Right. I think I have the free version installed because I was just kind of surveying to see what's what before I purchased. But that's good that you're recommending that. That's great.
Well, yeah, and I've seen sites get hacked right through the free version of just about anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've only the only thing I really had success with is the Sucuri paid firewall. And I see there was a message from Heather saying word fence. Yes, I've seen a site hacked right through the word fence firewall too. And the word fence free firewall. I haven't tried their paid firewall.
I appreciate all of this. Thank you very much. And I'm going to come back and give progress reports.
All right, Michael, thanks for coming, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Heather, do you want to step up?
Oh, thank you. I just I have 3 kids running around right now, so if I mute, it's just because they've come in and they're crazy. So I just took on a new job for one of my clients to take over a site that they're having trouble with, and I put it in the chat. Let me see if I'm gonna just put it again because I typed it. It's affiliated force, and I'm just having a hard time figuring out where like to edit to make it responsive, because it's supposed to be responsive. And
yeah, Heather, I had a look at affiliated force and I tested the responsiveness, and the responsiveness is actually mostly working. There's just one big snag, and it's the logo. The logo is very large, and it's a fixed size file, so it won't resize. So what you might want to do here is for the smaller sizes, like for the smartphone size site, you might want to swap out a smaller version of the logo file.
so I don't know what browser you're using, because I'm not seeing it working on Google on a Mac.
Oh, okay. I'm using Chrome on Windows.
Actually, it looks pretty good on Chrome on a Mac. If you just reduce the width of the window, you'll see it responding. And a few things like that logo that.
Oh, I see what she means. Yeah.
What?
All right. Yeah. The responsiveness looks really crappy.
Just
What
kind
do you
of
mean in
ends up,
terms of the
Yeah,
page width?
at certain sizes, in fact, when you go back, yeah, there's something totally messed up about the responsiveness.
yeah.
It actually, when I expand it to the very large screen, it gets smaller. So that the responsiveness on this theme is totally messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, in fact, when I was trying it, it looked good at first,
Yeah.
like a large version of what a phone would be. But then as I increased it out again, it actually got smaller
Yeah.
before it got larger. So that's like,
Right.
yeah,
that's
that's
not
what I'm
normal responsiveness. Responsiveness should either go in stages or
Yeah.
gradually, in increments to accommodate phone, tablet, and desktop. And
Yeah.
desktops, of course, span an enormous width,
Yeah.
depending on the size of the display. What's the theme?
I'm still, let me just.
Because for the most of us, responsiveness is handled entirely by the theme, and we don't normally get involved in it, other than for things like that Drew mentioned, where an image doesn't size well, either very large or very small. So you're better off giving it several sizes that suit the different versions.
Yeah, I'm just looking up I had a couple of other questions. So like I mentioned, I just switched recently to WP Engine because we had quite a few problems with Bluehost, and some of the sites I thought were ranking pretty slow because of it, and the switch helped the speed, but I'm just wondering if you had any offers to like something that's kind of equivalent, but less expensive and offers the ability to do multi-site or to do the like the subfolders with multiple WordPress installs. I didn't know. Do you have any suggestions?
Sorry, I was just poking into the code of your theme here. Can you run that by me again, Heather?
She was looking for recommendations on hosts that would support the subdomain or subfolder methods of adding sites to an account, but that wouldn't be as wouldn't be restricted as WP Engine is, and perhaps a little less expensive because that's in the middle tier of hosts for cost.
Yeah. You want to have multiple sites. So would you have like site1.affiliatedforce.ca and site2.affiliatedforce.ca, etc., that kind of thing?
So basically I'm a web designer. I have multiple clients. So we host quite a few of our clients sites, and just find it easier to kind of troubleshoot if there's something. So what we had was with Bluehost, we had a cloud-based server and the sites kept going down, and it actually turned out because one of the reasons was because of the nodes there was too many nodes. There's too much demand on the server for our account. The demand was exceeding what our account limit was set. Okay. So we switched to a dedicated server and partitioned all of our sites, which is nice. And we find that now working with like Cloudflare and WP Engine, the speed is incredible. And
Heather, I'm just looking at a Google search report on WP Engine add subdomain, and it goes through the sequence of steps to set up a subdomain on WP Engine. So you're sure that the account that you have with WP Engine doesn't permit the subdomain or subfolder technique?
Yeah,
well, sure about that?
Yeah, so what I did was I installed it manually, and each time I installed it manually, parts of the site, it wouldn't link. It was
right. But when you say manually, I'm looking at a list of instructions that says click to add domain, use the add domain button.
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
We tried doing that. Yeah, we tried doing it the button process way, and then I created the environment, and then I created the FTP for that, and then I added the files manually through the FTP because WP Engine.
Yeah, that's straightforward, sure.
Yeah, and then it wasn't working, and then I would call them to say like, this is what I did, and I wasn't able to get any kind of tech support from them regarding that, why it wasn't working. They just said, we don't support this style of WordPress install. So I'm wondering if like I don't think it's uncommon to do that where you have multiple.
Well, as I was saying before, I think it's pretty much the norm.
Yeah.
To support both of these techniques.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you just had an unlucky person on tech support, because if it's a feature of the service and you're paying a premium for support on WP Engine, then the fact them brushing you off, actually the same thing happened to me with SiteGround. I was in their premium plan. They have a button, one-click button to create a staging site, which I used, and then when it didn't work and I contacted them, they just sort of scratched their heads and blew me off. And I just wasn't interested in pursuing them vigorously. But when I spoke to some SiteGround executives a year later, they said, "Oh, Robin, you should have, escalated your request because we would have had someone solve that. That's what we're here for, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So I would go back to WP Engine, and you understand when I say escalating your.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's go up the ladder, not accept someone saying we don't support that. Find the page. There's bound to be a page with the specific instructions for creating subsites. I'm looking at a bunch now, but not on, well, yeah, I'm on the WP Engine Support Center sites. The article's called New Subsites and Multi-Site Custom Domains.
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff I was finding.
Yeah.
And I tried 3 different tech support individuals, but it all related to multi-site, which is quite different setup than doing it the way that they said that they just don't support that type where you install a WordPress install within a subfolder that already has WordPress installed. So I'm not sure, but that just seemed very odd to me, but.
Well, I wouldn't accept that, and I would, press, because you made the move already to WP Engine, it would make sense to sort of push the matter somewhat with them, because moving it again would be more work perhaps than getting them to provide the service you're paying for.
Yeah, okay.
Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you also might want to do things the WP Engine way. WP Engine is used by a lot of agencies for their clients, and they have hundreds of agencies have hundreds of clients on WP Engine. So it may be just a matter of looking at and doing it the way they want it done. If you look up WP Engine agency hosting, you'll see that they have various plans for doing that. And they're probably going to want to set up each client in a segregated account where you, as the agency, have some degree of control over that account to go in and do administration and stuff like that. But as still keep them all separate, as much for security reasons as anything else.
Yeah, we have a dedicated server that we've separated. It's all segregated, and it allows us to create separate FTP logins to share with our clients. And each one has its own dashboard where it has specific stats, similar to like the stats you get with Jetpack. And a lot of there's like a caching, excellent caching system there, but it's there's like, for instance, the WP super cache, like there was one that I installed, like a Mimify one, WP Mimify, which was conflicting. So like there's certain downfalls with WP Engine. I just was curious to know your opinion on, say, like DreamHost or something where they have like dedicated servers. But I put in the chat the theme. It's MORESA is the theme, and then the person that developed the site created a child's theme. So that's what I've been editing, is the child's theme, and I can't seem to find where, like, there is a button that says responsive on and off, but it really doesn't do anything.
Okay. I am looking at trying to find the developer's website for this theme. And they have been sold to a new company.
It's a theme forest theme. And
sometimes that can be a problem.
okay, there's Moresa documentation on temp lines, Drew.
Yeah, I'm looking at the temp line site now. What I'm wondering is what the current version is. And I'm wondering.
The Moresa text on Theme Forest says the responsive layout looks amazing on any kind of devices. So Heather, I don't think you'd agree with that, would you?
No.
Here's another one that says on Theme Forest, it says Maressa is a modern, clean, responsive, and multi-purpose HTML template for your next site.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, do you have a current license for this theme?
It
And
doesn't look like I don't like I'm like I said, I'm just taking over it. I don't even know if there's like I haven't found like a license key or code or anything. They had their tech support, like the gentleman that does their internal networking do this site. So I don't, and I think he's having trouble with it because it's not really his forte of doing web design. He's more of a server setup type of person. So
and I can see, well, I can also see that there might be an issue with tech support on this theme right now, because the developer is in Kyiv, Ukraine.
oh,
Now, now the question is, I'm wondering if you have an old version and if you need to update the version of this theme.
yeah, I'm just checking to see the version.
What's the current version, Drew?
That I'm looking at the theme sales page, but it doesn't seem to say what the
Usually in that
version is.
sidebar in the top right corner. Or if you just go down that bar.
Yeah, I'm on the temp lines homepage rather than on I'll go to the Envato page for it.
It's interesting. I just happened to see in this Google response, how do I fix responsive issues? The first thing you should do is check if you're running plugins which conflict with the responsive layout of the site. And sometimes plugins are updated automatically and can cause such issues. Debug the plugins or try, use a debugging technique, turning them off and then on again to see if that changes the responsiveness.
Yeah, I just looked on the dashboard. It looks like it's version 1.
What's the current one?
Version 1.0 looks like what is installed on their server.
Right. Okay. So the question is, what is the current version?
Yeah. And then when would be another time that you would be holding a meeting like this? Because this is fantastic.
Yeah, we do these once a month.
Okay.
And it's on the, I guess, the third Tuesday of each month.
Okay.
All right. Last update, 29 January 22 this year.
Okay.
And you're right, I see no sign. Well, it's compatible. Well, and it's compatible with 5.9, which is good.
Do you know when the next PHP is being introduced for the server?
Well, 8.0 is in the wings.
Yeah, 8.0.
But in the wings meaning don't go to it yet. I think it's 7.3 or 7.4 is the highest and the recommended ones.
Okay.
And then it's, test your stuff against 8.0 carefully before you make the switch.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fine with WordPress. It's just the issue with plugins and themes.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is maybe because we don't host this particular theme. I'm just wondering if maybe there is an issue with the PHP and the theme being on auto renew or something like auto update. I'm wondering if that might be the reason why it's doing this.
Well, there's a plugin called PHP Compatibility, which you run, and it goes through all your plugins and theme and comes back and tells you if they, what they're compatible with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a broad brush approach, but it's a free plugin. It takes only a few minutes, and then when it's not in use, it does nothing. It just sits there. It's a utility. In other words, it doesn't affect the performance of the site.
Okay.
So that's always handy to have.
Yeah.
And now that we've rediscovered, or at least that issue has come up, of grouping plugins with a plugin so that you can turn them on and off easily and reliably. And then that helps you zero in on a problem plugin more quickly than doing it, individual plugin by plugin.
Yeah, that's great. Well, there's
All
a
right,
lot here.
Drew, have you had any luck with the theme version?
No, I'm still not. I'm looking at the now. I'm
Kind of
looking
bush,
at
don't you think, that they don't give you the version?
I'm gonna try one more thing.
It does have one of the ancient, well, the first page builder was the predecessor of this particular theme's add-on page builder.
Yeah.
WP Bakery page builder. It used to be called Visual something or other.
Visual Composer.
Yeah, Visual Composer. And it was the first of the page builders.
Yes, it was. And I still love it. I love it way better than.
Because then Beaver Builder and others came along.
Yeah.
And pretty much made Visual Composer sort of fall to the wayside.
I still love it.
Bearing in mind that people who do know how to use it are loath to stop using it the same way that the fellow who used Divi, I don't want to change from Divi.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. I mean, it whatever sort of turns your butter.
You, right? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
One of my biggest troubles I've been having is with Elementor. I don't know if you guys have been having that.
With the updates coming, or
just Elementor as a tool to be editing the sites. Like sites that I've installed, like a customer wanted to use this particular theme. He was dead set on using this theme. So I said, okay, I installed it. It kept breaking. The Elementor kept breaking. It would, if I switched, I had to use Elementor to edit the site. Like if I went to Classic or anything, it would just break the page.
Well, that's a huge load if you sort of use
both
Elementor sort of across the board.
Yeah.
Its performance hit then is multiplied by the amount you use it on the site. So not only is there that issue, but just the complexity that it adds is pretty ferocious. However, I mean, I've used Elementor, and it's my first couple of years with it. I loved it. I mean, I came from Beaver Builder.
Okay.
And I love that. And so
they're very similar though. I think.
Page builders are great things, but it's easy to overuse them.
Yeah.
Or to use them to solve problems they weren't intended to. If
they create more problems.
Yeah, if the theme breaks, Elementor's not your solution.
No.
All it is making the problem more sophisticated.
Yes.
But as I say, everyone's mileage can vary, and Jacques, who's still here, I think, lurking somewhere, is a page builder fan, and regards Gutenberg as the WordPress curse. And
yeah. Well, I probably would agree with him. He just asked me which one I use. I use both. I depending on the site, I try to be as flexible as possible, because you never know what you're going to get, especially when you're getting, clients that are like already with the site and you're just trying to help them out with getting where they want to go with it. And so you're trying to work with what you have already there.
Now, one of the things that's so appealing to me about Gutenberg and the block scheme is that it's going to reduce your reliance on plugins by at least 75%.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, if you can make do with the 40 or 50 block choices that come with the theme, come with the default theme and, you know, across the board for other themes. You have WordPress core support, which
Yeah.
has to be the most reliable, you know, developer. It's automatic is what really it is.
Yeah.
And if they're running sites if they're running millions of sites on their software, it really matters to them that these things work. And to me, it's so tempting with 50,000 plugins to choose from and 10,000 themes, 20,000 themes.
Yeah.
It's such a temptation to exercise your choice. And, you know, at one point on one site, I had like 65 plugins running.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I took myself out of the back and shot myself in the head and came back and reduced it to about 15. But that was my sort of experimenting thing. And I
Yeah.
realized that I wasn't really experimenting because that was an unusual, unreal load. But it's simply that to men at least, plugins are like shiny toys, right? You see one, you
Yes.
hear about one, it's an irresistible,
It
Jacques in
is.
particular, it's irresistible to go out and try it out and then
Yeah.
become a you know, proselytize and pontificate on that particular plugin. So the notion that we're moving away from that and also moving away from themes per se in favor of sort of basic theme structures to which anybody's blocks and anybody's patterns can be used. So it's a more template rather than theme-oriented world.
Yeah.
And that again, Divi with its 250 settings to learn through memory only, since the logic is not apparent. You don't have that. You learn the block editor and the site editor, and then that should apply to 75% of all the stuff you do. It's a different approach, a different way of thinking, and it addresses the complexity issue rather well, I think. The notion that, you know, people are either intimidated as beginners or feel they're not spending their time wisely as developers, mussing about with these strange things that are so widely loved by their clients, often without great purpose. Drew, anything in concluding comments before we wrap up?
Actually, I had a thought, Heather, when your client says that they want a particular theme, what they're really saying to you is they want the look of that theme.
Yes.
And you can replicate that look with modern tools in one of the generic themes. So, you know, if you have, say, Elementor plus the Elementor Hello theme, you can probably replicate the look of just about any other theme that your client has their heart set on.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
save yourself a
on the-
lot of
on the-
headaches in the process.
Yeah.
On the parallel track, if you look at the WordPress social learning meetup sessions, you'll see there's a number of them where the instructor is going to say, we're going to do a newspaper site. So let's go and find 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 newspaper sites and pick off the features that make them distinctively, you know, news sites. And then using the block scheme, here's how we put together the same thing. And, you know, to build a news site in 30 minutes from zero, a blank screen, using existing blocks and patterns that come with WordPress now is impressive. And yes, there are, you know, you'd spend time tweaking the styling to get it exactly right, because clients have color palette and typography choices too. But in the block scheme, you can make your typography choices in one single place that will cover everything except for those things you accept.
Yeah.
And you can actually have CSS schemes specific to blocks that you can set so the user can't change them. So you do away with problems like, oh, well, somebody's got 4 H1s.
Right.
Or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We know what users can get themselves into. But anyway, our time is pretty much used up. It was nice meeting you. And
Nice to
please
meet you
do
guys.
come back and contribute to solving some problems that other people have, because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to have new people who get something out of our sessions, right, Drew?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you so much for all the information and I learned a lot of different things and it's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Well, as I was saying to Kim or Anika or whoever, go to the page, the meetup page for this event and just
Yeah.
add a comment that having now had your first experience,
Yeah.
someone asked you, would you recommend it? And just answer the question.
Yes.
And that would be 2 sentences would be great, just as you
Yeah.
say, to encourage more people to come to the events.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
great. Okay, see you all next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Ciao
care.
all.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Guess I should turn off the recording.